New York's homeless crisis 2025. Even police can't stop this. Homeless in America by Streetside Witness. I step into Penn Station at 2 a.m. The fluorescent lights buzz. A man wraps himself in a silver blanket. A transit cop glances over, then away. New York never sleeps, but thousands have no bed to sleep in at all. On a single winter night, the city counted 4,504 people living outdoors, on sidewalks, in subways, under bridges. That's the official Hope count, January 28, 2025. Inside the shelter system, yesterday's tally showed more than 85,000 people. Most are families with children. Nationwide, the crisis has swelled too. In HUD's latest assessment window, more than 650,000 Americans were homeless on a single night, the largest count since record-keeping began. So here's our question tonight. What happens when rising rents, shrinking affordable housing, and frayed health systems collide on your block? And if police can't solve homelessness, who can? This film is urgent, but it's also human. We'll walk block to block, listen face to face. We'll challenge myths and bring receipts. Every number on screen will cite its source. If reporting like this matters, smash that like, subscribe, and join the journey. Share this with one person who thinks the problem is too big to fix, because the truth is stark, but solutions exist if we have the will to fund them and the patience to stick with them. 1. Rising tide. Start with scale. Streets, subways, shelters. A whole shadow city inside the city. On any given night, New York shelters more people than any U.S. city. Yesterday's official DHS count listed 85,481 people in the system. Families, single adults, and youth. That number is sheltered. Another piece is unsheltered. The city's latest Hope survey estimated 4,504 people sleeping outside or in transit, on sidewalks, in parks, and across the subway map. Zoom out. New York is not alone. Los Angeles County reported 75,312 people experiencing homelessness in 2024, most of them unsheltered, tents, cars, RVs, doorways. San Francisco's 2024 point-in-time total rose to 8,323. 4,354 were unsheltered, visible on overnights from the Tenderloin to the waterfront. Nationally, HUD's 2023 count found 653,104 people homeless on a single night, a 12% jump from 2022, fueled by first-time homelessness after rent shocks and lost income. Numbers are anchors, but they can also numb. So let me bring you closer. I'm standing under the FDR at sunrise. The river moves like cut glass. A woman packs her cart with practiced speed. Two outreach workers kneel to eye level and speak softly. A train rattles past. What does 85,481 look like to you? Faces or just a headline? Luis, 42, delivery worker, Bronx. I never thought I'd be here. One slow winter, then my rent bumped $400. I slept in my car until the tickets buried me. I kept my job. I lost my home. Behind every count is a person deciding where to charge a phone, where to be safe, and where not to be seen. The scale is staggering. The stakes are intimate. Have you noticed more tents near places you pass every week? Second, pressure points. Root causes first. The shortage of deeply affordable housing is the floor cracking under everything else. The Gap report estimates a 7.3 million home shortfall for extremely low-income renters. Only 34 to 35 affordable homes for every 100 households. In New York City, asking rents keep breaking records. In June 2025, Manhattan's median rent ranged $4,625 to $4,895, depending on the index you trust. Citywide, Q1 2025 median asking rent landed near $3,397, up 5.6% year over year. Across the subway map, station area medians climbed again. One analysis pegs a citywide median of $4,700 in June. Now add a fragile paycheck, a missed week, a medical bill, a winter with fewer delivery shifts. The arithmetic tilts fast. Evictions are the churn engine, roughly approximately 1 million filings in 2024 across tract jurisdictions, each a hard shove toward homelessness. Policy choices amplify or cushion the blow. When voucher caps lag the market, families hold paper help they can't spend. When a landlord refuses, the search restarts. When prevention funds run dry in June, a September eviction becomes January shelter intake. May, 61, home health aid. Queens, my client passed. I lost the hours. I fell behind, 2 months. I begged my landlord for a plan. He filed anyway. Now I'm in a shelter with a locker. We call this personal responsibility. But what responsibility can bridge a $4,700 median without savings or a cosigner? If the cheapest studio near you eats more than half your paycheck, what's the plan? 3rd Street Arithmetic. Daily survival is math without mercy. Where to charge a phone without getting hassled. Which block stays safest after midnight. How to keep insulin cold when the night drops below freezing. People outdoors calculate risk every hour. Exposure is a health tax paid in advance. During recent LA wildfires, smoke settled in basins where people slept without sealed windows or air purifiers. Respiratory crises spiked. Clinics saw more wheezing, more coughs, more ER runs. Unsheltered life means dehydration in August, hypothermia in February, constant sleep disruption, and higher risk of assault. Prolonged time outside deepens health and economic harm. The longer you're out, the harder the return. Outreach teams offer blankets, rides, socks, and a shot at a low-barrier bed. Some nights, they're translators between fear and a doorway that locks. But trust is earned, not ordered. Many avoid big congregate shelters after theft, curfews, or fights. They'll wait for a safe haven or private room option, even if the line is long. Andre, 27, Brooklyn. I keep my tools in this backpack. It's my life. In big shelters, stuff disappears. A safe haven with a door that locks. I'd go tonight. Street Arithmetic is also about dignity. A shower before a job interview, a place to stash a suitcase, mail to receive documents. Without those basics, opportunities slip. The city can clear a platform in minutes. Rebuilding trust takes weeks. When the choice is a crowded dorm or a freezing platform, is it really a choice? 4. Trust and the badge. Politicians promise order through enforcement. The pitch is simple. Move people along, clear the corners, make the problem disappear. But evidence refuses. A 2023 NYC Comptroller audit tracked encampment cleanups. 2,308 people encountered. 119 accepted temporary shelter. 3 secured permanent housing. Many sites reoccupied within weeks. Now shift to the subways and streets. In late 2022, City Hall issued guidance on involuntary transport for people who appear unable to meet basic needs because of mental illness. Officers could act without a recent dangerous act. Civil liberties groups warned about rights, trauma, and revolving door hospitalizations without housing to exit to. Clinicians added a blunt caveat. Discharge to the sidewalk is not a treatment plan. Enforcement can create a clean frame, a tidy platform, a press conference. The person returns tomorrow. The reason they were there remains. The badge carries authority. It cannot conjure affordable homes. Officer Diaz, 34, NYPD Transit. I can move a guy out of a station. I can't give him a lease. Next week, I see him again. He knows my name. I know his. Some cities test co-response teams, clinicians with officers, to diffuse crises and steer people to care. Early studies show fewer arrests and better engagement when housing slots exist. Where slots don't exist, the loop spins. 911 call, ER hold, discharge, platform, cleanup. So we ask, if enforcement displaces people but rarely houses them, what outcome are we buying? 5. Body and mind. Homelessness is a housing crisis with public health consequences. Mortality risk climbs sharply outside. An NBER analysis estimates people experiencing homelessness face about 3.5 times the mortality of similar housed peers, even after controlling for age, race, and geography. NBER 2024. Overdose remains a leading cause of death. In New York City, provisional data show 3,046 overdose deaths in 2023. Fentanyl dominated the toxicology. Nationally, opioid-involved deaths dipped but stayed devastating at roughly approximately 79,000 in 2023. Add exposure, chronic illness, untreated wounds, and interrupted medications. Every barrier is multiplied by the lack of a door that locks. Street medicine and harm reduction save lives. Wound care, buprenorphine starts, naloxone, safer use supplies, clinic rides. But treatment slots are scarce, and recovery is fragile without stability. That's why Housing First keeps showing results. A lease paired with voluntary services reduces use of crisis systems and improves housing retention. Urban Institute, 2024. It doesn't require sobriety first. It requires shelter first. Then the work of healing can hold. Marina 52, Staten Island. The detox took. The street broke me again. A caseworker finally got me a studio with a door. I sleep. I make appointments. I can breathe. Viewers ask, what about accountability? Here it is. Housing stabilizes the ground so treatment can stick. Without it, the calendar is chaos. No place to store meds, no alarm clock that isn't a patrol car. Is recovery a sprint, or is it the daily walk you can only take once you have keys? 6. Systems under strain. New York's right to shelter promise means the city carries a vast nightly caseload. Yesterday's DHS census logged 85,481 people. Parents, kids, single adults, elders. Asylum seeker arrivals intensified the strain. The city spent roughly $3.75 billion on shelter and services in fiscal year 2024, $1.47 billion the prior year, and had committed $2.76 billion in fiscal year 2025 by late February, some partially reimbursed by the state. Meanwhile, DHS's fiscal year 2026 preliminary budget clocks in near $3.58 billion in the plan, down from earlier projections, still massive.
Madam Secretary, the people up here look forward to working with you and your team. We look forward to conversations about the President's FY26 budget for DHS. From what I've seen, I am personally supportive of zeroing out the Shelter and Services Program, and I look forward to conversations about FEMA, CISA, and TSA.
Shelters are emergency rooms for the housing system. They're not designed or funded to be homes. When average shelter stays stretch into months, every bed turnover stalls. Case managers juggle impossible caseloads. Families shuttle across boroughs to keep kids in the same school. Paperwork expires while units vanish. Hotels converted to emergency sites buy time but add cost. Safe havens and stabilization beds reduce crowding, but supply lags need. Without enough apartments that match voucher caps, exits clog. Yesenia, 33, mother of 2, Brooklyn. My kids do homework on cots. I work days, take bus transfers to keep them in the same school. Caseworker says voucher approved. Landlords say no.
If they're going to call you, it's still saying pending.
The system does what it can with what it has. A triage line, a gym of cots, a long wait for keys. But triage without throughput is just a longer hallway. If shelter is a bridge, where's the other side? 7. Dollars and decisions. Policy lives in numbers, not slogans. Vouchers can cost less nightly than shelter, but only if apartments accept them and rent caps meet the market. A recent analysis estimates city FEPs estimate $20,000 per household per year, roughly $54.80 per day, with average shelter stays around 15 months. A knot of trade-offs for any budget. The math breaks in predictable places. Payment standards below real asking rents. Source of income discrimination that pushes families to the back of the line. Unit scarcity in the neighborhoods with schools, transit, and jobs. Paperwork friction that resets searches and burns months. HUD's annual assessments and the federal strategy stress the frontline moves. Prevention, diversion, rapid rehousing, and supportive housing, plus tackling structural drivers like the end of pandemic protections, rising rents, disasters, and workforce strain. Transit outreach shows what persistence plus housing slots can do. More than 1,000 people moved from subways into permanent affordable housing. Not a sweep, a door, Scale is the question, not possibility. Rami 48, Harlem. They told me, your voucher's approved. I cried. Then came 6 months of landlords ghosting me. One broker finally said yes. The day I got keys, I slept 12 hours. We say policy failure often, but what if some policies work and we starve them? If a voucher costs $54.80 a day and a family sits sheltered for 15 months, where should the next dollar go? 8. Faces we don't see. Stigma hides real stories. Myths travel faster than facts. You've heard them. Most people came from somewhere else. It's all addiction. Evidence points elsewhere, and national groups and research syntheses identify housing costs and poverty as the core drivers, with many people homeless near the communities they last had housing. Hidden homelessness is hard to film. People sleep in cars, rotate between relatives, trade silence for a spare floor. Families often avoid parks and subway benches because safety comes first. They show up at intake, not in street counts. San Francisco's 2024 Pitt tried to see what we miss: vehicle dwellers and invisible families. The count rose to 8,323 total, 4,354 unsheltered. Method tweaks exposed how cars and RVs shift our view. In New York, family homelessness is large but less visible. School-aged children in shelter carry bridge backpacks and case conference folders. Work doesn't inoculate you. Surveys show many adults experiencing homelessness report recent employment. A rent spike, a lost shift, and a sick parent can collapse a budget overnight. Domestic violence is another door into homelessness, especially for women with children. Safety can mean leaving everything. Myth: people choose the streets. Fact: most cite economic shocks, rent increases, or family crisis as the tipping point. Timmy, 16, student, Queens. I do algebra on the train. If I get a seat, it's a good day. Coach says I still made varsity. I just want a door that locks. We rarely see the kid acing biology from a shelter lobby. We never notice the mom who showers at a drop-in before work. If you had one bad month and no savings, where would you sleep on day 31? 9. Sparks of hope. Hope isn't a hashtag. It's a lease, a lock, a mailbox with your name. Housing. First is still the most studied path out. A home plus voluntary services. Communities that scale supportive housing and rapid rehousing see fewer returns to shelters and steadier health. This only works if the exit exists. In New York subways, persistent outreach paired with actual apartments moved 1,000 plus people into permanent housing. Not a sweep, a door. Elsewhere, systems are learning. Los Angeles is piloting AI-assisted triage to reduce bias and match scarce units to those with highest needs. It's controversial and promising if paired with transparency and human review. Hope also looks like street medicine, starting buprenorphine at the curb. Drop-in centers, showers, mail, and quiet. Landlord engagement. One conversation that converts a no vouchers sign into a signed lease. Source of income enforcement helps, but outreach seals the deal. None of these are silver bullets. Together, they're a working toolkit. S. Alma, 29, survivor, Manhattan. Shelter was safety for a week. Then a hotline placed me in a studio. The silence scared me at first. Then I slept. I'm back in school. Measure hope. The way we measure sweeps. Fund it, track it, publish it. How many vouchers leased? How many exits to permanent homes? How many people kept their housing 12 months later? Could hope be scaled like we scale enforcement, funded, measured, and renewed every year? 10. The next New York. Here's what the evidence says we should do now, not someday. Now, 1. Build and preserve deeply affordable homes at scale. The ELI shortfall is 7.1 to 7.3 million units nationwide. We must close that gap. New York needs thousands more supportive and low-rent homes each year to dent shelter flow. 2. Prevent entry. Fund eviction prevention. Right to counsel and emergency cash so a late rent doesn't become a family's first night in shelter. Evictions accelerate homelessness across cities. 3rd, scale exits. Reduce voucher barriers. Enforce source of income laws. Align payment standards with actual asking rents. Keep landlord outreach and risk mitigation live. City FEPS averages about $20,000 per household yearly, roughly $54.80 per day, far less than extended shelter.
Serious problem, but the bigger problem is that our government is not taking our opinion into account.
4. Treat health as housing critical. Expand street medicine, low barrier treatment, and harm reduction. Save lives while we build supply. NYC's overdose deaths dipped slightly to 3,046 in 2023, yet remain severe. Fentanyl dominates. 5. Stop pretending police can fix housing. Encampment audits showed enforcement alone rarely produced homes. 2,308 encountered, 119 to temporary shelter, 3 to permanent housing. What works? Co-response teams, targeted outreach, safe private rooms, and leases. The question isn't if we can reduce street homelessness, it's whether we'll fund what works. Demand your city publish monthly shelter census and exit metrics. Support zoning reforms that legalize more affordable homes. Back organizations that pair housing with care. If you're a landlord, say yes to one voucher. Luis again. I'm back inside. A studio in the Bronx. It's small. It's mine. I hung one picture. It's my mother. If you take one thing from tonight, take this. Homelessness is not inevitable. It's a policy choice, renewed or reversed with every budget vote, every zoning meeting, every housing lottery. This story took weeks on the ground and months in the data. If it helped you see the crisis with clear eyes and a fuller heart, smash that like, share it, and join the journey by supporting the groups in the description. This is Streetside Witness. See you on the next block.